On the outskirts of Ravenswood, hidden behind iron gates and wild ivy, stands the ruins of Hallow Creek Asylum. For decades, it housed the broken, the mad, the unwanted. Doctors experimented. Patients screamed. And many never left. When the asylum shut down in 1965, officials claimed it was empty. But the townspeople knew better. They still heard voices echoing from the halls. They still saw pale figures in the windows. And they warned. Never go inside after midnight. But warnings never stopped Michael. Michael Adams, a young journalist, came to Ravenswood for one reason: to uncover the truth behind the asylum. Locals called him crazy. But Michael had built his career on exposing hidden truths. And this would be his greatest story. Armed with a recorder, a flashlight, and a camera, he crossed the rusted gates one October night. The air was thick, heavy with rot. The asylum towered in front of him, its windows dark and broken. The front doors groaned as he pushed them open. And the asylum breathed. Inside, the silence was crushing. Dust floated in the beam of his flashlight. Wheelchairs lay abandoned. Beds overturned. Chains hung from the walls. He pressed record. This is Michael Adams. October 13th. I am inside Hallow Creek Asylum. The hall stretched endlessly. But then a sound. A whisper. Low. Broken. Leave. Michael froze. Hello. The whisper came again. You shouldn't be here. His flashlight flickered. And the portraits on the wall seemed to smile. Michael pushed deeper inside. He found the old records room. Cabinets overturned. Files scattered. He picked up one. It read, Patient 67 Eleanor Gray. Diagnosis: unstable. Violent. Dangerous. The file ended with one chilling line. Patient disappeared. Body never found. Suddenly pages began to scatter across the floor, as if an invisible hand had thrown them. And in the doorway, a figure stood. A woman in a hospital gown. Her head tilted. Her eyes hollow. Michael blinked. She was gone. Determined to continue, Michael found the stairway leading down. The basement smelled of mold and iron. Pipes dripped. The walls were scratched with nails. In the corner he found old surgical tables. Stained. Rusted. Chains dangling from the ceiling. His recorder caught faint voices. Crying. Screaming. And one phrase over and over. Don't let her out. Suddenly, a door slammed behind him. He spun. And saw her again. Her mouth stretched in an unnatural smile. Her voice cracked. You came for me. Michael ran. The asylum shifted. Hallways twisted into endless loops. Doors opened into darkness. He tripped, dropping his recorder. It rolled across the floor, still recording. And it captured everything. The sound of Eleanor's footsteps. The dragging of chains. Michael's panicked breath. Finally, he reached the main hall. The front doors were there, but chained shut. He screamed, pulling at them. But behind him, Eleanor whispered in his ear, You'll never leave. The next morning, locals found Michael's car outside the gates. Inside it, his notebook, his camera, but no Michael. Weeks later, a police officer developed the final audio tape. Michael's voice was frantic. I can't get out. The halls keep changing, please. Someone. A scream. Glass shattering. Then silence. But in the background, faint and chilling, came Eleanor's voice. Another one stays forever. Today, Hallow Creek Asylum still stands. Its gates rusted. Its halls empty. But if you walk close, you'll hear the echoes of chains. And sometimes, you'll see a shadow in the window. A woman in white. Waiting. For the next visitor deep in the mountains. Far from the cities. Lies a forgotten village. It has no welcome signs. No visitors. And no survivors. The place is called Black Hollow. A village erased from maps after a night of fire, blood, and screams. They say everyone died. But sometimes, at night, the church bell still rings. Daniel Reed, a travel writer, was searching for lost places of America. When he heard whispers about Black Hollow, he couldn't resist. A whole village erased from history? He had to see it. Locals warned him. Don't go there. The ground remembers blood. But Daniel laughed it off. One October evening, he drove through the winding forest roads. Fog rolled in thick. And then, a broken wooden sign appeared. Welcome to Black Hollow. His phone lost signal. The engine sputtered. And his car stopped at the edge of the village. Daniel grabbed his flashlight and camera. The village was frozen in time. Wooden houses rotted. Shutters banged in the wind. But the strangest thing, every door was wide open. He whispered into his recorder, Black Hollow, abandoned. But why do I feel watched? As he walked deeper, he saw the old church in the center. Its bell tower stood tall, though the bell was cracked, and carved into the wooden doors were words. They never left. Inside the church, dust covered the pews. Candles lay melted, as if extinguished only yesterday. At the altar lay a book, a prayer journal. He opened it. The last entry read, October 17th. They came from the woods. Their eyes burned. We prayed, but God did not answer. Suddenly, a bell rang. Slow, heavy, but no one was pulling the rope. Daniel froze. He whispered, impossible. And then he heard footsteps, many of them shuffling behind him. Daniel ran out of the church. The streets were alive now. Shadows moved in the windows. He heard children laughing, but broken, hollow laughter. He turned a corner and found the schoolhouse. Inside, small desks were overturned, and on the chalkboard, written in blood, We still play. A ball rolled across the floor. No one was there, but small footprints appeared in the dust, leading straight toward him. Panic rising, Daniel tried to leave. He ran back to his car, but the forest had changed. The road was gone, swallowed by trees. Branches moved like arms. Roots curled across the ground, forming words. He stumbled back into the village. Every house was glowing now. Shadows of families eating, praying, screaming. But inside the houses, there was only dust and bones. At the far end of the village stood the mayor's house. Daniel entered, trembling. On the walls were dozens of photos. Families smiling, children playing, but their eyes scratched out. He found the mayor's diary. Final page. They are not dead. The village belongs to them now. If you see this, leave. Before they take your name, the diary burst into flames in his hands. He screamed, dropping it. And in the reflection of the window, he saw dozens of faces staring at him. Daniel tried to record one last message. This is Daniel Reed. Black Hollow is alive. The villagers. They are still here. If anyone finds this. His recorder cut off. The screen cracked. The air grew ice cold. And then, he heard hundreds of voices whispering in unison. You are one of us now. The shadows closed in. Hands reached from the floor. Faces pressed against the walls. And the church bell rang again. Weeks later, hikers found Daniel's car at the forest's edge. Empty. Keys still in the ignition. Inside was his camera. The final photo showed him standing in front of the church. But behind him, a whole village of pale figures, smiling. No one has entered Black Hollow since. But at night, if you drive near the forest, you'll hear the bell tolling. And if you stop to listen, you might never leave. In every city, there is one house no one buys. A house people cross the street to avoid. A house where windows watch and doors breathe. In the heart of Greywood stood such a place. Number 49, Ash Lane. For 70 years, it remained locked, but never empty. They called it the House That Whispers. Emily Carter had never heard of the house until she received a letter. Her great-uncle, a man she never met, had died. And in his will, he left her 49 Ash Lane. Everyone she asked gave the same warning. Sell it. Burn it. But never live there. But Emily was curious. And curiosity is always hungry. The house loomed, dark and broken. Windows boarded. Garden overgrown. But the key slid into the lock as if it had been waiting. Inside, dust lay thick across the furniture. Yet the air smelled faintly of perfume. Emily walked the halls, feeling it. The house was listening. That night, as she lay in bed, she heard it. A whisper. Soft. Low. Welcome home.